so much.
Welcome everyone. 2023 का हमारा पहला ये हमारा सेशन है और थोड़ा सा हम क्योंकि न्यू ईयर, न्यू पॉसिबिलिटीज, सम न्यूनेस होनी चाहिए, तो मॉल्टन विमेन काउंसिल का अब पूरा एक थीम होगा पूरे मंथ का, जो हमारे स्किल बिल्डिंग वर्कशॉप्स हैं। जनवरी में हम लेके आ रहे हैं एंगर का टॉपिक है हमारा, एंड दिस इज अंडर सवेरा प्रोजेक्ट। कुछ लोगों को सवेरा प्रोजेक्ट का पता है, कुछ को नहीं पता। तो सवेरा इज साउथ एशियन विमेन एम्पावरमेंट एंड इक्वालिटी ऑफ राइट अलायंस, जहां हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं जो कुछ होता आया है औरतों के साथ, बहुत सी नाइंसाफियां हुई हैं, बहुत से घरों में झगड़े हुए हैं, बहुत कुछ हुआ है, कैसे हम उसके बेस पे, स्पेशली जिनके लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं, वो हम कुछ ऐसा डेवलप कर सकें कि हम आने वाले लोगों को बचा सकें, फेलो विमेन को बचा सकें, अपनी बहनों को, अपनी बेटियों को बचा सकें, और किस तरह हम आदमियों को साथ लेके आए। सो वी हैड मेनी ग्रुप डिस्कशंस। हमारा स्टार्ट था अप्रैल टू मे। वी हैव डन 6 group discussions and some of you attended those group discussion. पहली बात वहां आई anger, how to deal with anger, how to understand what is anger, ये सारी चीजें जो थी। तो आज उसकी हमने पहले यहाँ स्टार्ट किया है। थैंक यू नम्रता फॉर दिस। और आज की हमारी होस्ट जो है संगीता है। मैं मिस ना कर दूं संगीता का इंट्रोडक्शन, अ ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन, सो लेट मी पुल इट आउट। So Sangeeta jo hai, she is volunteering with us today, and Sangeeta is a neuropath, certified nutritionist and holistic cancer practitioner. Thank you, Sunita, for coming forward for today's session. और मॉल्टन विमेन काउंसिल के बहुत से प्रोग्राम हैं। एवरी फ्राइडे हम लोग लेके आते हैं 6 to 8 हमारे जूम पे प्रोग्राम्स हैं। हमारा नेक्स्ट प्रोग्राम जो है वो संगीता आपको बता देंगी, वो भी एंगर से ही रिलेटेड है। जो हमारा इन पर्सन प्रोग्राम है विमेन सपोर्ट ग्रुप अंडर सवेरा, इट विल बी ऑन मंडे इन पर्सन 5 to 7 50 सनी मेडो इन ब्रैम्पटन। आप लोगों से फ्लायर शेयर कर लेंगे, जो आ सकता है जरूर आइए। बड़ी अच्छी वहां बात होगी, how to deal with loneliness, how to embrace loneliness, and how to be your own friend so you don't feel lonely. ये topics हैं. Now over to you, Sangeeta, for today's session.
Once again, thank you, Ismaji, and yeah, welcome everyone. Looks like 2023 बहुत ही अच्छा कुछ लेके आ रहा है. There are so many good things happening around. So yeah, and I would like to really welcome new people who are joining, and of course आगे भी आते जाएंगे, उनको reintroduce करते जाएंगे, हम जैसे आएंगे। तो आज का सेशन एंगर के ऊपर है। जिस तरह से हम जिंदगी जीते हैं, जिस तरह से हमारी मेंटल रिएक्शंस जो होती है, आइदर इट इज पीटी में जाता है या कंट्रोल में जाता है, और सैडनेस होती है वो सप्रेस्ड एंगर है, या कहा जाएगा कि एलिवेशन ऑफ सैडनेस वुड बी एंगर। सो इट्स a seesaw that we find it, and it's our pleasure to have our own Namrta today, who has been on many sessions with us, and as we have seen in April last year कि anger से कैसे deal किया जाए, that was very vital things, because if we see spiritually, if we see clinically, it damages a lot your digestive system, it damages your mental health a lot, and in the long term I've seen, we carry, and in my profession I've seen it, people carrying it for 15 generations. When I start solving unconscious mind and going behind 15 generations so far have backwards, I've tracked it. It's mind-blowing the way we accommodate this kind of emotions in ourselves, in our genes. It's crazy. So I thank you, Namrta, for coming on for this. And मेरे ख्याल से मल्टीनोमल काउंसिलर को आपकी पहचान की जरूरत नहीं, आप ही खुद एक पहचान.
बहुत बड़ी बात बोल दी आपने संगीता जी. I love this platform. This is one of my favorites all time.
Yeah, because I've seen you, you're such a younger and yet come with a lot of energy, a lot of love in your heart. And when I see you as someone who accommodates people in her arms. And that's who you are for me when I see you. And not many times I saw in person, but yes, once I saw you in person when we having programs with another organizations on the theater. That's where I saw you in person. Yeah,
it was lovely meeting.
I can feel.
It's so nice.
Yeah, I can feel energies and who you are is like embracing people, and definitely as a registered psychotherapist and a clinical supervisor, I think that's the thing that you must be bringing forth for your clients, and that's where you shine and you will shine. And Namrta is a founder of Talk Health and Psychotherapy. Her journey in this field is almost 1.5 decades. She looks very young, but yes, it's 1.5 decades. And supports people in the healing journey of body image issues. And that's pretty so much invasive in our society. Hum kaise dikhte hain. How we get presented to someone. It's such a so low self-esteem act by itself. But people need help, specifically youngsters. So yeah, so that's one part. And marriage and divorce issues, depressions and anxiety. Her work profile consists of psychotherapy, providing clinical supervising, conducting workshops, and spreading awareness about mental health. She works with a diverse youth and adult population, and she's passionate about women's mental health. It's so beautiful. अगर हमारी mental health अच्छी हो जाती है, so the whole community gets impacted towards it. That's the thing that we have. And she provides services in English, Hindi, Urdu, and Punjabi. So if you have someone who needs this kind of services, do approach her. And I'm sure she will be a great justice to them. So welcome, Namrta.
Thank you again.
And yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. You gave me such a wonderful introduction. ऐसे feeling नहीं आ रही थी अपने बारे में सुन रही. I was like, oh my God, who's this person? You brought such beautiful energy and vibes. And I think thanks, Uzma. Thanks, Modern Women Council, for kind of, always giving me this platform and opportunities. I mean, like, I'm always indebted for this. And I think मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि the reason of choosing anger as the theme of January is कि एक ही first महीने में निपटा लेते हैं, पूरा साल बाकी हम कोई गुस्सा नहीं करेंगे, right? We're gonna have a very chill, very vibrant, very happy 2023, hopefully, keeping fingers crossed. Things will always be up and down, but again, let's hope for the best, right? So Uzma, can we start with the presentation and then again we'll talk, but I also see your hand up, so please go ahead.
Yeah, so before we start, I just want to let everybody inform that this program is being recorded and it's live streaming. If you don't want to show your pretty face, you can just off your camera and feel free to use chat option if you have any question. Or Namrta, how would you like to monitor the chat? इसमें आप किस तरह address करोगे?
So जैसे कि अब तक सबको मालूम है, I love talking, so I'll keep talking. Very engaging. We'll have presentation just as an outline because there are a lot of things that I want to cover, so I don't want to miss out. So अगर presentation रहेगी तो it'll keep me in track so that I don't talk too much or I don't lose track of something. So that will help. And rest again, we'll keep it very engaging and very interactive. So presentation, I would just like, so if you want, you can share the screen. If you want, I can open it at my end, however you guys would like to do it.
Yeah, if you can open it, will be great.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I request everyone, if they can use their real name or a name we can understand, because Zoom user, I don't know who is behind that name. Ji, Namrta.
I'm just trying to pull it out. I'm not the greatest with technology, people, so please bear with me.
That's fine.
Okay.
And our aim is to finish at 8 sharp.
Yes. And that's one of the reasons I want to have the presentation. Otherwise, we can talk about these topics in such a part of fashion. Okay, we can go on and the time would fly. Okay, so would you all like to see the presentation, or you would all like to engage in communication more? How would you all like it? If we can have show of
Whatever
hands.
works for you. Whatever works for you, Namrta. That's something
Either
that,
ways, let me just see if I can
yeah.
present screen at my end. Again, how are we supposed to do it? Give me one moment.
Both.
Okay, can you all see the presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
Here we go.
Okay, one skill got accustomed, one skill in 2023, how to put the presentation here. Okay, I'm just trying to see if I can put it on the slideshow. I don't know how to do on this. It's not letting me see the options.
At the
Okay.
bottom, you have one. Yeah, you're done.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, this is good. Okay, so Happy New Year, everyone. And this is just for people who are new, who I haven't met before, just a little about me outside of what I do in work, right? So I think Sangeeta ji said it, that I'm very passionate about women's mental health services, you know, the languages I speak. I'm super happily married for 13 years and I have two lovely, lovely, handsome boys, 8-year-old and 3-year-old, and they're my energy busters. They bring loads of energy to me and loads of learning from them. Okay, so this is basically simple what we're doing today. We are talking about trying to understand the impact of anger on our mind and body. Not that we don't know, but we just want to dig a little deeper into it, and we'll try and figure out how not to let it impact to the point where it harms us. And this is where we get interactive. So I want to hear from all of you that what do you think, how individually or in your personal experiences, how has anger really impacted you? If I can hear it from people. And I'll try and see if I can, how do I stop sharing screen? I don't know yet. I'm figuring it out.
When we are angry, we forget what to say. Whatever comes to our heart, we openly say, and that means nothing. Only developing more anger.
Okay, fair enough, Narendra ji. Great. Anyone else?
I have.
Yes.
Well, I've lived with anger all my life, with people around me being very angry.
Makes sense.
So I never understood. So I learned that you're supposed to hide your anger. So when you hide your anger, it comes out in wrong places.
True.
Right? Because you're not addressing your emotions. So I'm learning to sit still in my anger and understand, okay, this is why it's happening. It has to do with this emotion, and then move on.
Good.
Thank you. And you and I have the same last name. Are we related?
Just realized that. I just noticed that. We have to meet for coffee outside.
Yes, we do, for sure.
Thank you. Anybody else? Sangeeta ji, am I missing somebody?
Yeah, sometimes it so happens that, yeah, my name is Darshan.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm from Winnipeg.
Tell me, Darshan.
Yeah, so sometimes like if you have a certain opinion or argument about something, and some others don't agree with you, and then the anger starts building up. So I think we should respect others as well to have their own opinion, but not necessarily everybody should agree with your personal opinion. But others have their own views or opinions as well. But there is no need to lash out or or start raising loud voices.
Absolutely, Darshan.
Yeah.
There was somebody else, Sangeeta ji. Do you remember who else? I think I saw Manmeet and
Seema.
Yes.
Seema.
Manmeet wanted, she was before me. Manmeet, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Seema. Namrata, I can go on and on about how anger has impacted me. I'll just say that I think I lost my relationship with my father because of anger. He was used to get angry so much that I could not even see his love. I'm seeing his love only after he's gone away. I had a loss of many, many years. And I think it also gave me that fear that when I used to get angry with my kids, I used to be, in the same fear that I may lose my kids because of my fear. So anger is so bad, is what I went on with till I realized it's not always bad, but it passed from generation to generation. For me, the biggest problem is that anger is loss of relationships and some very precious relationships.
Thanks, Manmeet. I'm sure this was tough one, but thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yes,
So, yeah, Namrata. So for me, like as everybody said that they are right in their way, and actually, I personally feel that anger have many faces. Like as Mr. Mutta said that when things don't go according to us, जब कोई सुनता नहीं है हमारे according चीज नहीं चलती, या फिर we are holding or suppressing something, and when you are not able to confront or express your feelings in any whichever way, or maybe untold trauma, as Manmeet said that, it took me forever to understand, when I became a woman, so I understood that, okay, my mom was mad or angry, why she was. So now I understand.
Yeah. Geeta ji?
Yeah.
I feel anger is such a thing, it's like habit, T still remains. If you cut H, A bit stays. If you cut A, bit stays. If you cut B, it stays. If you cut I, still T stays. So it becomes a trait in somebody. It's personality. That we have to understand because of the constant failure. Constant failure in his own expectations that create anger. He or she brands himself or herself as a failure and doesn't do anything to overcome that failure, that feeling of failure, feeling of being unloved. These are certain things which are imaginary. It is not always the same, but it is imaginary. It happens. So it accumulates. This accumulates. And then when it accumulates, you're frustrated. You're a failure. You can't stand success. You don't even want to elevate yourself to that position because you're lazy. You always argumentative. You'll find some people or other is very argumentative. Don't do this. Don't do that. I don't want it in this way. These are their usual sentences. And that creates, rift in life with relations. Okay, I'm doing. So this we have to see, and we can't make him or her understand his difficulties, though we understand sometimes that what is the difficulty. And sometimes his anger or her anger creates immense fear to the person who is in contact with that person. He makes everything really bad. He worked very hard or she worked very hard and it was a very cordial relationship. Suddenly it becomes like, do you know how you cuddle the paneer, how you make paneer? You know it, na? Similarly, anger, when it gets into the relationship, it creates fear in somebody's mind. And he or she doesn't like it because every creature wants to develop. This is natural thing. Development Growth is a natural phenomena in all living things. Anger is not a single thing. There are many things. Greed. There are many things that really disturb us to the extent that we just withdraw ourselves from that situation, from that person, and try to live in a segregated way, though we don't like it. But we can't take it. We can't take the person as a person who will be with us, who is with us, and adds to our happiness. We would always like people who will add to our happiness, to our peace of mind, and this kind of anger really creates havoc. Then they start delusions and hallucinations. How the neuroscience, every person is not normal. We are always a little bit abnormal in certain ways. Okay? But this trend, this habit, when it grows, it can be so bad that they are branded as angry persons. We also imitate, like angry man in Bollywood. We know angry man in Bollywood, but this is not the way. Then the young generation try to copy them. Are you following? So when they copy them, they take all the traits in themselves and they develop it. They will shout at their mother, they will shout at their children, and this goes on till they become really confused and not lose all their peace of mind. We want to bring back these people in normal way of life, but how? How to do it? We can sit with them, we can be with them for some time, but if it has gone for a long time, it is very difficult to bring them back to the normal way of life. They have to accept it. You see, it's not the one.
Thank you, Geeta ji. It's been a good revelation of the way you see as an anchor. Thank you so much. Yeah. And anyone else? Because I would like to see anger from a different perspective. Perspective as gender inequality, because I know I was adopted and I was brought up by a very, very critical mother. So चुप बैठ जाओ, चुप बैठ जाओ, चुप बैठ जाओ. लड़कियां बात नहीं कर सकते, लड़कियों को नहीं इतना ही पढ़ना है, शायद इसके लिए मैं इतना ज्यादा पढ़ चुकी हूँ. Rebellion of the things. So that's one of the things is like I feel as gender inequality that's there. Second, जैसे गीता जी ने कहा कि angry young man that we see in Bollywood, but I feel like people who are angry are really weak.
Yeah,
they are like anarkali के जैसे जो दीवार चुन देते हैं अपने आप में, so that people cannot approach them because within them there's a lot of low self-esteem. That's the way I look at anger.
Yeah.
The second perspective. Third perspective is like when people are angry, the impact on others is they really absorb as spawn somebody else's anger. And I was releasing anger for my daughter just day for yesterday, and then it tracked into, of course, 3 generations, for us 5 generations tracked into. Number 1. Number 2 is like the way it get absorbed in a body, and then it started the clinical other things. I could see that. So we can see anger from so many perspectives. And yeah, looking forward to hear solutions from you, Namrta.
Thank you, everyone. I think each one of you has brought such amazing perspective, amazing experiences about anger that everything ties up exactly into what we're talking. Another thing that I would like to do is let's just kind of look at, and I'll try and see if I can get that video playing, just because as I had put clearly that I'm not the greatest with technology, but I'm trying today. So I want to see if I can bring that. Let's take a moment to really understand what goes on in our brain when we get angry. Like what is happening inside of it that happens, and then let's talk further about it. So please bear with me for 1 second. And Okay, you all can see? Give me 1 minute. Okay.
Namrta, आवाज नहीं आ रही.
So Namrta, you'll have to click on share sound when you share your screen. And perhaps
say that, Manmeet, say that again.
So when you share the screen, there's a sound button which says share sound. So click that too as well. So go back and probably do that.
Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second. Walk me through again.
When you click on the share screen button,
yes.
So see, there's a box below that. You can stop sharing if you want to. You can actually go back to the main screen. Now share screen and then click on the button below the screen. There'll be different boxes showing on your screen, right? There's a small button, share sound.
Unfortunately, it's not. Okay, you know what? Don't worry. I'm just gonna walk through this so that we can. I want to talk on that, but I can walk you through that. So one of the things that happens basically when we get angry is that, so there's a different centers, very complicated. I'm not the physician, so please don't bombard me with any too detailed technical medical questions, but I want to make sense out of things. So when we get angry, amygdala, as you see on the screen, it's basically a storehouse of our emotions and experiences and memories, right? Frontal cortex is our center of logical thinking. The moment we are in a situation where our anger is triggered, our amygdala is super activated, which stops frontal cortex from being in action, right? And that is one reason why we experience that surge of all the neurotransmitters being discharged, being flooding us, because of the amygdala that's very active, and frontal cortex takes a back seat. And that is why a lot of times we can't think straight. We feel confused. We don't remember when we say things in anger. And I'm sure most of you, and a lot of times, even individually, we all would have done, and the other person is trying to tell us, you said this, and we're like, no, we didn't say. And that becomes the next topic of getting angry and having a fight, right? So when any individual experiences that sense of anger, your brain goes into the mode of fight, flight, or freeze, depending on multiple reasons, how and what your physiology is working, how your mind is working, how your life experiences. All those things come and flood you at the same time. So it's very difficult in that moment to try and segregate. And how we are going to do it is something we're going to understand in just a few minutes. These are some interesting facts that I found from while I was doing my research, that 30% people who participated in the survey that was done, out of them, 30% had a close friend or family member who had trouble controlling anger. And I think from the things जो अभी हम सब बात कर रहे थे, उसमें से if we derive, I think we all have had somebody very close to us who has always had some anger issues, or they had normalized the ballistic explosion of anger. So it didn't matter to them that how they were presenting, but the anger was very clearly laid out. And again, coming from the cultures, and I always say that our cultures have not helped with our mental health. Coming from collective cultures, they've kind of normalized the whole, angry young man kind of a thing. कि वो इतना normalized हो गया that we all have seen that around, but we never thought there was a problem with that. Or even if we thought there was a problem, there was never a resolution to that. 10% agreed that they had trouble controlling their anger, which according to this sounds like quite a bit of a number, but I'm sure like in a day-to-day life, we see more than that. 20% ended their relationships due to anger. And they didn't mention what kind of, but overall 20% of the participants agreed that they ended their relationship due to anger. 60% agreed that people in general are becoming angrier. We are going to talk about that soon. And less than 15% actually sought help. And the reason I liked sharing these facts was that these facts really got me thinking that, like if people are saying 60% people agreed that people are becoming angrier in general, why? Like, why are we becoming more angry day by day? Like, why are we seeing that surge? right? This is the most interesting and significant slide here, that what is the impact? Physically, physically, anger is known and has said to have, it can cause heart attacks, it can lead to strokes, it can lead to migraines, or even if it is not a diagnosed migraine, that immense pressure on your head. It is not good for you. It is not good for anyone to be experiencing that sense of pressure on the head. It weakens our immune system. So our body's immunity to fight the bacteria or to fight anything that is foreign to our body and we don't require, when we get angry, we are leading for our immune system to weaken itself. It worsens depression and anxiety tremendously. I think it's very underrated that how anxiety and depression can be impacted by anger, but they can be humongously impacted. Your anxiety and depression can get really worse because of the anger. It increases blood pressure, right? It tenses your muscle. So बहुत बार आप ये देखोगे कि जब आपको बहुत गुस्सा आता है या जो आपकी जान पहचान में है, a lot of people have this area as very, very tensed area. Your neck and shoulder, lower back. These are the areas where the body holds the anger. It holds the memories of anger. And so a lot of times your muscles are constantly in that tense mode. And that also impacts your mobility and flexibility of the body, right? And cognitively, it induces a lot of confusion. It makes it very difficult to pay attention. It leads to overwhelming emotions, right? It leads to crying episodes. And very interesting one is overthinking. And at this point, I want to pause for a moment and I really want to talk to everyone. Overthinking, in my practice, what I find, no matter what issues we are dealing with, what presenting issues they're dealing with, overthinking is one of the biggest culprits that cause mental health and physical health issues. And the amount of overthinking and the capacity of our mind to go into the what if scenarios is unimaginable. Like, what if I have had teenagers sitting with me in my office and saying, what if I can't complete my assignment? वो यहाँ से बात शुरू होती है कि एक assignment due है, वो पूरी नहीं हो रही है. What if I can't get this assignment in? What if it compiles and becomes 40 assignments? What if I can't do any of them? What if my teacher does not give me accommodations? What if my doctor does not prescribe me medication? What if my parents don't want to support me? My parents do not believe in mental health. What if it doesn't happen? Then do I have another way rather than accept ending my life? Wahan baithe, within 2 minutes, they go from not completing one assignment to I don't have anything left outside of ending my life. It is heartbreaking, but it's very concerning at the same time. Okay, this one little thing that we have, mind, इतना powerful है हम लोगों का mind, इतना ज़्यादा कि हम अभी यहीं पे बैठे हम इस presentation के बीच में सिर्फ cognitively हम मालदीव्स घूम के वापस आ सकते हैं, हम मेक्सिको जा सकते हैं, हम अपना फेवरेट खाने को खुशबू सूंघ कर वापस आ सकते हैं, किसी को कुछ पता नहीं लगेगा. It is so powerful and it has a huge role in order to make and give ourselves the lifestyle that we want. किस तरह का lifestyle चाहिए? क्योंकि anger के साथ जो भी हमने जितनी चीजें देखी हैं, there's another fact which was very interesting that I'm going to bring up before moving ahead is, give me 1 second. I wasn't sure, I didn't know about it, so to me it was like, wow, like ऐसा भी होता है. Give me 1 second. Okay, this. So this is a study from 2014. I couldn't find the latest one after this anything, but what the researchers found out was that 2 hours, जब हम बहुत गुस्सा करने के बाद, जो next, when we think we are calm, the next 2 hours actually increases person's risk of heart attack 4.74 times and risk of stroke 3.62 times. And to me, that was very scary. कि हम लोग जब गुस्सा करते हैं, we don't think. We are not thinking, we are not doing it deliberately. But these facts were so startling to me कि हमें लगता है कि गुस्सा हो गया, चलो बात खत्म हो गई, चलो जैसे कहते हैं ना कि चलो खत्म करो उसको, let it be. But it's actually your body is not letting it be. Your mind is not letting it be because आपकी body को रिलैक्स स्टेट में आने में अभी बहुत टाइम लगने वाला है। आपके माइंड को वो जो चीजें हुई हैं, जो इमोशनल स्कार्स हुए हैं इन दैट हीट ऑफ एंगर, उससे निकलने में बहुत टाइम लगने वाला है। जो भी शुरू में हमने बात की थी डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस के साथ, थोड़ा सा हमने इसका बीच में डाला था कि हाउ recently I worked with somebody who's a survivor of domestic violence, and we are still working. How it all started was एक बहुत simple, इतनी petty issue से start हुआ कि खाने में नमक थोड़ा कम था। हस्बैंड और वाइफ खा रहे हैं, उसने कहा नमक पास कर दो, वाइफ ने कहा कि तुम्हारे सामने पड़ा तुम उठा लो, and this is where it all started from. It escalated to the point cops got involved. One of them had to be placed on the restraining order. Kids witnessed it, right? And they're both into such amazing, both people are so amazing. I'm not going to say that only one of them is. And now both of them are regretting. But now it's like the ball is out of their court. It's legal now. Now, even when they have to, and they want to come back together, they have wonderful kids together, they have amazing jobs that they want to do. But again, it's legal. The cops got involved. In the heat of moment, आपने जो भी किया, आपने जो भी कहा, now nothing can be taken back. It's done. The damage is not just done to them professionally or financially, yeah, emotionally. It is gonna, जो हमने बात कर रहे थे ना अभी आप संगीता जी, I think you were saying that tracking anger पिछली generations. So the intergenerational impact of anger is humongous. And we very rarely ever actually look at it, क्योंकि हमारे हिसाब से वो एंगर प्रॉब्लमैटिक है, वो एंगर टॉक्सिक है जिसमें कुछ बहुत खतरनाक निकल के आ रहा है, राइट? कि जिसका रिजल्ट इज लाइक यू नो somebody is being harmed physically या कुछ हो गया. बट इमोशंस के उस पे तो हम सोच ही नहीं रहे ना, कि जो इमोशनल स्कार्स क्रिएट होते हैं इन वन हीट ऑफ मोमेंट ऑफ एंगर, they are going to take years and years and years to heal if they actually ever heal, right? But I want to hear from all of you here before we move ahead. अभी जितने हमने impacts की बात की है, physical and emotional, उनमें से which of them have you experienced first hand? Like, especially I'm very keen to hear anything to do with overthinking. If anybody would like to participate. If no, then we can move forward. But I just want to give a moment to everyone, please.
Overthinking is only imaginary. And it creates anger or many things in our brain.
Okay.
And as a result is very bad. We are thinking something, and that is only imaginary.
Yes.
Nothing is behind it. If we say the same thing to some other person, they will naturally become angry. They will mind it. And this will create a, you can say, struggle or uneasiness both among both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to give a different perspective to this, because we think only our emotions are stored in the brain, but the science has proven which is not normally available to the आम public, नहीं मिलता है वो. Because I've studied with Greg Braden and I've studied with Bruce Lipton, and Dr. Jolie Spence are in person with them. So the kind of research that they have been doing, it's so accessible to us when we are interacting. So the emotions and the storage of emotions is not only the amygdala, it's also in the blood. The cells, every cells of your body carries this emotions. And third is also your aura around it is also those, you know. And the extreme of, you know, ignoring your emotions is your dementia, because your connections, neural connections, you as someone who is connecting with your thought process or the memory field as such, when you don't want to look at, नहीं मुझे खुद की जिंदगी देखना नहीं है, past देखना ही नहीं है, जाने दो, bury it. The moment it happens, this is one of the causes for dementia. Like, there's a lot study has gone into it. Another look at like overthinking is, if you get an opportunity, please do watch this movie called What the Blip Do We Know, where you will have some glimpse of how we attract things. कुछ ना कुछ ओवरथिंकिंग के बारे में हम कनेक्ट करेंगे उसको. कुछ सोचते हैं एंड ठप 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 योर ब्रेन स्टार्ट्स, योर सेल डिमांड्स, मुझे ये ड्रग की जरूरत है, मुझे एंगर के जो बायोकेमिकल रिएक्शंस है मुझे अभी जरूरत है, ठप 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 ठप, एंड देन इट स्टार्ट्स गोइंग इन. द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ दिस इज like your cells starts vibrating at a certain extent and they invite the events in your life. It's not even that happens, you invite. That's a law of vibrations, a law of attraction ki baat hum log karenge. So it's such a huge thing. We have no idea what kind of, we as human being are born and the capacity that we have. फिर वो एक से ज्यादा दूसरा दूसरा दूसरा, because those kind of the epinephrine, norepinephrine, and cortisol and adrenaline, that starts, inside of the body. It's a lot.
No,
It's
that's
a
true.
lot that
That's true, Sangeeta, absolutely. And I think the body stores every emotion and every memory of it. Whether it's trauma, whether it's anger, whether it's even little things that happen on day-to-day basis, our body holds memory, right? And that is why when people who do Reiki and who do other practices, alternative healings, if somebody is into them, that they would definitely endorse that wo jo ek aura, Sangeeta ji jiski aap baat kar rahe ho abhi, that aura gets affected. That is why there are certain areas in the body which are way more, and tense muscles ki hum logon ne baat ki, that's where it stems from. So it's absolutely correct. There's something else that I want to focus on before did I miss somebody out before I start sharing my screen? Sangeeta ji, anybody that you can see that I have missed out?
I think Geeta ji, she wanted to say something. If you can be quick enough, Geeta ji. आपकी आवाज.
I think Geeta ji, you're mute.
Some person is facing some financial problem. Say one individual is facing financial problem. Now he is comparing his status, so-called status, financial status, with his brothers who are better off. But he is not telling to his close associates about his condition so that he can improve it. It can be improved. And he really goes back to his shell and doesn't want to disclose his difficulty to others. And he's angry. In his actions, he's very angry. I've seen that kind of person. And lately, he committed suicide at the prime age. This is happening. Why? Because we are taught, don't disclose your difficulties. People may mock at you. We think, our thinking that others will mock at me and won't sympathize with me gives this situation. But that is not always true. There are many good people who come forward and help others and make them happy. There are good people also. There are bad people also. So we have to think about.
You're right, Geeta ji. आपने सही कहा कि जब भी हम कंपेयर करते हैं किसी और के साथ, तब हमारा गुस्सा, उसका स्टेटस, मेरा specifically in siblings, or somebody's wealthy, and then it's a lot. It's a lot. You're right.
And
over to you, Namrta.
Another thing.
We can come back to you. Can we come back to you again, Geeta ji?
Sure.
We only have now almost 50 minutes.
I wanted to tell one thing only, that men think that they are men are more angry with women, but that is not the thing. Women think that they're wives of so and so. We change our surname, and that gives the men folk that they are the own supreme head of the family. There's no head or tail of the family. Both have to work together to make a happy family.
So true. So true. Thank you for sharing your views. Appreciate it. Yes, Namrta.
Okay. I will come back to the whole gender thing on that, but before we get there, let's kind of understand. So one of the things that I think we've kind of touched base on is the various factors that trigger anger, right? So one of the things is hunger. Very interestingly, in my work around, when I work with people who are dealing with anger issues, especially, very interestingly, every time I have worked around and we have set up a routine, and meals have been included as a part of consistent regime. You wake up, you eat something, you have your lunch in time. Somehow, very interestingly, they have seen some decline in their intensity of anger, not in the frequency, but in the intensity. So one of the things is that when your body needs energy, water and food are main providers for your energy of body. And when you deprive your body of them, then obviously your body is not in sync. When it's not in sync, the emotional regulation gets disrupted. And that's why we are constantly on the edge. So it's a very small step, but I think if we can focus on what our body really needs, food and water, it can really help with somebody who's dealing with anger. ईगो अटैक्स बहुत कॉमन होते हैं. आई थिंक शुरू में दर्शन जी ने कहा था कि कि अगर हम किसी की बात से अग्री नहीं कर रहे हैं या कोई हमारी बात से अग्रीमेंट नहीं कर रहा है, एंड आई थिंक ही सेड अ वेरी सिंपल वेरी बेसिक पॉइंट कि you not everybody needs to be in agreement with you. It is totally okay. नहीं है अगर कोई agreement, it's absolutely fine. Sometimes you just need to learn to agree to disagree with respect. Period. कोई discussion नहीं है इस पे. I can have a point of view, you can have a point of view, and we don't need to be in the same, we don't need to look at it in the same way, right? Personal choices, right? बहुत सारे ऐसी situations है खासकर इस time पे कि जहां पर इतना diversity है, mentally, cognitively, हर thought में इतनी diversity है कि we cannot not have choices. Choices तो है और हर individual अपनी अलग choices बनाएगा, and we need to learn, we need to come to that space जहाँ पे हम उस चीज को accept कर सके कि हाँ, somebody else is going to have their own choice and it might not be same as mine. Feeling threatened and attacked, ये बहुत interesting aspect है कि चाहे आप ये बच्चों में बहुत देखने को मिलता है. The moment they feel threatened या attacked, right? As adults हमें ये illusion है कि हम समझदार हैं, हम हर चीज handle कर सकते हैं, but which is not true. But it's very interesting to watch when the moment you feel threatened physically, emotionally, or cognitively, right? You can experience that sense of anger building in, right? Sense of powerlessness. जहां पर आपको ये लगता है कि आपके पास पावर नहीं है या सामने वाला पावर डायनामिक में आपसे ऊपर है या ऑप्रेस कर पा रहा है कोई आपको, that is where the powerlessness comes in, and that is where the anger starts triggering up. Feeling unheard, invalidated, disrespected, जो कि unfortunately हमारे कल्चर का एक बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा है, एक बहुत बड़ा कल्प्रिट है हमारा कल्चर इस मामले में, intergenerationally. It's not about one person in the culture. It's an intergenerational thing, which we will have a little discussion around. जब हमें ये लगता है ना कि कोई हमें समझ नहीं रहा, हमारी बात को सुना नहीं जा रहा, that is a moment where you feel that, that emotion of anger is going to trigger. Decreased sense of control. जहां किसी को ऐसा लगता है ना कि ये मेरे बस से बाहर है, I can't control anything in this. Again, that sense of anger starts coming in. Change. Not everybody is comfortable embracing change instantly, which is very interesting because change is the only thing that's permanent. Everything has to go through a change. Evolution कह लीजिए आप उसे, day-to-day basis में, like sometimes I hear from parents when I'm working, especially with new mothers, कि जिनका एक बच्चा school going है, the other one is too little, and school बंद हो गया या bus cancellation हो गई, early morning they woke up and they're like आज बस नहीं है, अब कैसे भेजना है? That change, instant change and sense of कि मेरी control में नहीं है ये चीज, that really can trigger somebody's anger. Before we talk about this, I want to spend some time in this because I know once we get into discussion, it'll take a little longer. So I want to kind of, cover a few of the things. It's very important to recognize which ones do you recognize with? So different types of angers. Short anger is जो instant response होता है, fight, flight or freeze. कि मतलब गुस्सा आया, वो एकदम से बस गुस्सा आया, short fuse भी बोलते हैं कई बार हमसे, that you just got so angry and you're upset and you say things that you are going to regret later, right? लेकिन वो in that moment इतना गुस्सा आ रहा है कि you can't stop yourself. That's short anger. Long anger is same cheezein, things that are ongoing, right? That are constantly there. You can't just let go of them. Hot anger is rage. एक जब खासकर जब एक societal level पर कुछ होता है ना, कोई एक public outcry होती है जिस चीज पे, that is called hot anger because there are too many, more than you people are involved. It's a group mentality that is coming into anger. Cold anger is जो कि process हो चुकी है. You made your peace with it. Situations change नहीं हुई है क्योंकि again, if we are talking about past, कुछ अगर past में हुआ जिस पे आप नाराज हैं, आपको गुस्सा है, वो इवेंट हम चेंज नहीं कर सकते, बट यू मेड योर पीस विद इट. वेदर नोबडी फॉरगेट्स एनी ऑफ इट, नोबडी फॉरगेट्स इट बिकॉज वी आर नॉट रोबोट्स के हमारी मेमोरी डिलीट कर दी जाए, बट वी चूज टू प्रोसेस इट इन अ वे कि क्लोजर देना है तो क्लोजर दें, फॉरगिव करना है फॉरगिव करें, या वी वांट टू होल्ड ऑन बट वी हैव मेड पीस विद इट. सॉरी, it's not triggering you as badly as it used to trigger you in the past, right? I'm going to go back to the previous slides for a second. If you see the picture here, anger could be triggered whether from present, past or future. So future से anger कैसे trigger हो रही है? Overthinking से, what if scenarios से, कि ऐसा हो जाएगा तो क्या होगा, ऐसा होगा तो क्या होगा. Past में जो नहीं कर सके हम, या करना चाहिए था, या तब मुझे पता होता तो मैं ऐसा कर लेती, उन चीजों को लेकर So those angers, when we talk about the types of anger, hot, short, cold, the short and long. So it's important to understand that where do I fit in? Which one is more like me? And how would I like to deal with it? Expressions. This is where the anger is not a problem. Anger is an emotion, right? And I think, I'm forgetting, but somebody had said that there's a sense that, people who are angry have a sense of weakness. With due respect and politely, I would beg to differ a bit because I don't think it's a weakness. Anger is an emotion. We are all born with it. Just like other emotions. Even if you see an infant, जो भी बोल नहीं सकता, 2 दिन का बच्चा है या बच्ची है, उसको भी अगर भूख लगी है, they will cry their lungs out, right? You can see the rage because the only way they know how to communicate is crying. So anger is an emotion that we are born with. Problem is not the anger. Problem is the expression of anger, right? Passive aggressive. This is one of the expression of anger जो कि बहुत commonly देखा जाता है, but जो कि बहुत ही unhealthy है. So for example, if you look at the picture there where he's saying, let me explain, and you're saying, whatever, fine, I don't care. I think ये बहुत commonly देखा जाता है हम लोगों के उसमें, क्योंकि हमें ऐसा जहन में, again, I would go back to the culture in this and the social conditioning, कि जिस तरह से हम लोग को, जैसे I think संगीता जी you were telling कि जैसे था ना कि लड़कियों चुप रहो, इतना ही बोलना है, इतना ही पार्टिसिपेट कर सकते हो, इससे ज्यादा नहीं बोल सकते. तो जब आप एंगर को एक्सप्रेस नहीं कर पा रहे हो तो आप उसको पैसिव अग्रेसिव उसमें ले जाते हो. कई बार होता है, जैसे आई स्टिल रिमेम्बर व्हेन वी वर वेरी यंग, कभी मम्मी को गुस्सा आया होता था और वो बोल नहीं रही होती थी, तो हमें बर्तन कितनी जोर से किचन में आवाज आ रही है उससे पता लग जाता था मम्मी गुस्सा है, राइट? एंड कई बार ऐसा होता था कि लाइक जब मम्मी 1 वर्ड आंसर देना शुरू करती है ना, तब पता लग जाता है कि कुछ तो भी गड़बड़ है, राइट? कि बजाय इसके लिए खेलने जाए, हाँ जाओ, तब लगता था अरे मतलब हाँ जाओ तो बोल दिया पर ऐसी फीलिंग नहीं आई कि परमिशन मिली है, राइट? सो दैट इज व्हाट वी सी एज पैसिव अग्रेसिव. वॉलेटाइल इज लाइक बूम ब्लास्टिंग, राइट? जो कि बहुत especially you see it in kids more because they don't know how else to do it. Deliberate, ये deliberate वाला बहुत interesting है. Deliberate is when you or anybody is expressing a sense of anger. It's not volatile, but you're expressing sense of anger to help somebody accomplish or achieve something better. So for example, जब एक coach है वो अपने trainee को डांट रहा है, राइट? पेरेंट है वो अपने बच्चों को पढ़ा रहे हैं और वो उस बच्चा नहीं उस चीज को कर रहा है या बार बार सेम मिस्टेक कर रहा है, उसको करेक्ट करने के लिए उसको डांट रहे हैं, राइट? या उसको करेक्ट करने के लिए असर्टिव हो रहे हैं, व्हिच इज परसीव्ड एंगर, राइट? सेल्फ सैबोटेजिंग इज जहां पर हम खुद को ही हर प्रॉब्लम का रीजन मानकर अपने पे ही एंगर निकालते हैं. एंड दैट्स व्हेन वी गो इनटू lack of self care, lack of self compassion, self-sabotaging behavior and thought process, जहां पर आपकी thought process is more like, for example, I am the problem, मैं ही ठीक नहीं कर पा रही हूँ, मेरे ही साथ ही issue है, बाकी सब कर सकते हैं. So when we start having those kinds of thought processes and we deprive ourselves from eating well, from from getting what we want to get, right? So that those are self-sabotaging expressions of anger. Again, they're unhealthy. Chronic anger is when somebody, I think Shayad Geeta ji ne kaha tha, if I'm not mistaken, sometimes people just learn to live with it. उनको हर समय वो उस chronic anger mode में चले जाते हैं. They don't want to let go the anger. And the next is habitual. कई बार लोगों को वो जो एक adrenaline rush मिलता है ना anger से और जो power का एहसास होता है, they become so habitual of it that they don't want to let go of that. We've talked of the types of anger and the types of expressions of anger, right? We're going to take a pause here because I want to engage in some conversations. Which ones do you see as more problematic? Volatile, passive-aggressive, deliberate, habitual, chronic, self-sabotaging. I'm listing them not in any chronological order, just how I had in my mind, or just how they came up in my mind, to be honest. So I just want to get your thoughts around, okay, which ones do you see how? And agar aapke apne experiences and if you're comfortable sharing, please.
Can you come again with the category, please?
Sure. So, self-sabotaging, passive-aggressive, and then we had, hold on. See, my mind is going blank right now. So, self-sabotaging, passive-aggressive, volatile, chronic, and habitual.
Habitual. For me, it's habitual.
Okay.
Very bad.
Do you want to tell a little more about that, Anjali?
Basically, I've seen like when I was growing up, my dad, like that was his parenting style probably. Like when he would get angry, like that was a part of his personality. Like he almost carried the anger, like he would become a different personality, and he would use that like it was a habitual thing for him to kind of present himself that way all the time to get his disciplining work done. So that was, sometimes it is easy for some people to handle that, and for some people it becomes very challenging. So yeah, that was a part of mine growing up. So whenever I see somebody using like anger for getting their work done, over the children, that's when I always find that as a trigger, and it puts me back. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that, Anjali. And I think it's something that I've seen a lot in my work especially when I work with women who are currently in their late 40s or 50s. One of the things that is very common is कि वो जो एक ऊंची आवाज का डर होता है ना, the moment you hear somebody raise their pitch, that heartbeat starts, it starts, your heart starts beating fast. You start feeling that, there's a threat, kuch galat ho raha hai, or you just get too scared, right? And that leads into so many other things. It leads into your anxiety, it leads into depression, and especially young mothers, for them, the postpartum becomes very difficult if they have had parenting. Their own parenting was of a style which was more authoritarian, right? Where the parent thought, just yell and get the work done, or yell and get my power established. That how dare you, disrespect me? Yeah, how dare you deny me anything? So I think wo jo ek, and that is where we were talking about the whole culture piece, right? कि हम लोग जिस culture से आते हैं, they're very patriarchal in nature, right? Things are changing. I hear a lot when I say this. उसके बाद बहुत सारा आता है कि no, things are different. अब वो सर्दी नहीं है. I agree, things are changing, but they are changing for people for whom it's changing. But it's still so embedded in many more households than we would like to believe and see. अभी भी वहां पर उस तरह का ऑपरेशन होता है, अभी भी उस तरह से अथॉरिटी होती है, अभी भी उस तरह से पावर डिस्प्ले की जाती है कि how dare you not listen to me. And I'll give you a very interesting example. I'm working with a family for family therapy. It started with the girl who's 14. She came in first. Her mother brought her in therapy. So they're twins. How it started was father. So एक है दोनों में से out of the twins. One is very outgoing, very social person, and the other one is very conservative. She likes staying by herself. She loves her own company. Wonderful girl, right? The father had some friends over. They were talking, and you know how they very normally normalized in quotes. वो एक मजाक उड़ाया जा रहा है, अरे इसकी मम्मी को तो खाना भी बनाना नहीं आता था, इसने ऐसा रोटी खिलाई मुझे, and अब तो गाड़ी पता नहीं कभी ठोक ही देगी. So they were talking around those things, and they were all laughing about it. And this girl, she couldn't stand it, and she went and she yelled at it that, what's so funny about it? You can't disrespect my mom like this. And she said a lot of things, and they didn't know what to do. Father felt it was very disrespectful and wrong. After that, they had a huge clash. The girl refused to stay in the house. And so after that, she came in. And when I was talking, she's like, what I'm more upset about is not my dad or his friends. I am angry at my mom and my sister. She's like, I'm trying to stand up. I'm trying to say ki galat hai, and they're trying to tell me ki you are making a big deal out of it, right? And she says ki, how am I making a big deal, Namrta? How is it that I'm wrong? And jo actually wrong hai, they're all right. And when I spoke with the mother, she's saying ki, you have to help her understand ki ye to hota hi hai.
Right.
And I had to help her understand that that's not my job. I can't do that because technically nahi hona chahiye. Just because wrong has been happening for so long doesn't make it right.
True.
Right? And उस चीज को लेके when father came in, he said कि मेरी बेटी पता नहीं मुझे क्या बोलती रहती है कि I'm very misogynistic. He's like, मुझे तो मतलब ही नहीं पता. And I had to explain him, and he was looking at me. He's like, तो ये problematic है, इसमें क्या है, ये तो मजाक है, right? So we also have to understand कि हम लोगों की social conditioning इतनी ज्यादा है इन चीजों के साथ कि जब गुस्सा भी, अब जैसे इस केस में this 14-year-old girl who's actually feeling angry, उसका ज्यादा गुस्सा इसलिए बढ़ रहा है because she's not being validated, she's not being heard. Rather, when she's trying to say something, she is being, it's more like the way she described this, Namrta, I feel घर में मैं किसी से भी बात करती हूँ, I'm meeting a dead end. Nobody seemed to be listening or seeing what I'm seeing. It's like, am I wrong? Like, something is wrong with my head that I'm thinking about it? So again, one of the things that we heard about, we saw in the presentation was that anger can be really triggered when we feel unheard, not validated, right? Or sense of powerlessness. This case mein, that girl was experiencing all three of them, right? Anybody else? Any other experience of anger or the trigger of anger?
What you said right now, Namrta, I've seen it in my case, the abusive relationship that I had. And then my daughter used to rile up. And I said, Nini, beta shanti rakho. And the thing is, the most funniest thing of this is like, it's like a fish in the water doesn't know that fish in the water.
True.
When we are dealing with the domestic violence or domestic abuse or kind of those kind of environment, जो है उसके अंदर उसको पता ही नहीं वो उसके थ्रू जा रहा है.
सही बात है, 100%.
And that the gender inequality is so much, and इतना वो dripping poison होता है कि you're not worth it, not worth it, not worth it. You start believing that you're not really worth it. So you're not worth 100%. It, even raising your voice. All that stuff. I asked, like really, Seema said that, I remember her words, that is not going to change. You have to take action. I would never forget her for taking, putting in my head like a nail, if it's that moment of time. So what your client experience, I think to certain extent, everybody, through our generation. And when I look at like from a perspective as a practitioner also, we as a human being, 2,500 years, we are only seeing conflict, war, and this and that, saving our own identity as a Christian. I think it's in the blood.
There's somewhere in our anatomy, kahin to pe
anatomy, it's in a DNA, and we have been dealing with the conflict. And it's like it's a time to raise the consciousness rather than just dealing with one issue and second issues. Kuch alag hi uska solution,
Yes, we'll just get. I think did I see Seema?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Seema is trying.
Namrta, as you said, that unheard and understood, not understood also.
Yes, completely.
I see, because I deal with domestic violence, I oversee
Right.
those things. And plus in my personal life also, I see a lot of things, like, in my sister's case, that it's not that unheard कैसे, अब किसी को, जैसे अब देसी को बोलो unheard, तो बोलेगा मैं इसकी बकवास सुनता तो हूँ सुबह से शाम तक, और मैं क्या करूँ?
Right.
अंडरस्टूड है कि नहीं? सुनते तो तुम हो, है ना? सुनना और सुनने में फर्क कब पड़ता है? जब वो अंडरस्टैंड किया जाता है।
True.
यू नो, तो फ्रस्ट्रेशन, जैसे मेरी फ्रेंड की बेटी है, नाम है गॉडमदर,
Beautiful.
वो 4-5 साल की है। सो एक बच्चों को आदत होती है रो के बात कहने की, रोने लग गए फिर बात करने की। सो आई लेट हर क्राई वंस।
अरे ये क्या कर रही हो? दरवाजे पे नमक कौन ऐसे गिराता है?
अरे रुको, अभी बताती हूँ। इस नमक गिराने से बहुत सारे फायदे वाले हैं।
अरे इस पे क्या?
गीता जी आपको म्यूट कर रही हूँ।
So she was crying, and I said, so I kept myself calm, and I said, why are you crying? She's like, I was sleepy. And I said, okay, so we don't cry, we just say I'm sleepy, or you're hungry, so do we cry? So instead of stating you don't do that, you know. So कहती कि no. So I said, what do we do when we are hungry, or we feel something? क्या हुआ तुझे, क्या है ऐसा? Okay, let's sit down. So understood नहीं है वो, ये तो चलो मैं एक बच्चे के साथ की बात कर रही हूँ, लेकिन रिलेशनशिप में, stepping back for quick incident that मेरी बहुत close friend है, कुछ miscommunication उसको हुआ, मैंने कुछ कहा और किया, उसने कुछ समझा और उसने उसके ऊपर जो भी किया, I was unaware of that. जब ऐसे हुआ तो मैंने, actions are different than your words, what happened? She's like, नहीं कुछ नहीं बोलो। तो उसने जो भी बताया, and I was completely unaware of what she was feeling, and from her side it's coming all from my side जब मैं अनजान हूँ, ठीक है। So I said okay, और मैंने चुपचाप सुना, because बीच में ब्लड तो आपका बॉयल होता है कि यार मैंने तो ये कहा भी नहीं, मैंने तो ये किया भी नहीं। I just stayed, I said like stayed calm. I said okay. So जब फिनिश हुई वो, अनहर्ड किया, बीच में आपको थोड़ा सा गुस्सा तो नहीं मैं कहूंगी, लेकिन एजिटेट होता है कि आप उसको काट के अपनी बात कहना चाहते हैं, कैसे है। तो जब when she finished, and I said, first of all, I am sorry that what you felt from my side. I am completely sorry. जबकि मैंने उसमें नहीं किया, मैंने कहा now the other thing is that I have never done all these things, but what you felt from my side, I apologize for that. तो क्या हुआ कि एकदम ठंडा हो गया, शांत हो गई। तो उसका क्या हुआ, फिर उसने मुझे सुनना शुरू किया। लेकिन अगर मैं उसको काट के बीच में कहती कि तू ऐसे कह रही है, ये तेरी समझ है, ये तुझे ऐसा लगता है, ये तेरा पर्सपेक्टिव है, क्योंकि हम लोग बड़े बड़े लफ्जों से पहचान हो गई है हमारी, बड़े बड़े लफ्जों से, है ना। तो वो हम क्या करते हैं कि अपने आर्ग्यूमेंट में, डिस्कशन में वो थ्रो करते हैं, ठीक है, कि हम अपना इंप्रेशन डाल रहे हैं, दो लोग गुस्सा कर रहे हैं, उसको एक दूसरे को नीचा दिखाने का है। तो अगर मैं आप पर गुस्सा कर रही हूँ तो मेरा मोटिव क्या है वो समझना जरूरी है।
Beautiful. Thank you, Seema. This is so interesting.
Thank you.
And I think it's a very interesting जो आपने इसका क्लोजर किया है। I think बहुत बार जब हम एंगर डी-एस्केलेशन की बात करते हैं, एंड वो किसी भी रिलेशनशिप में, चाहे आप बच्चों के साथ देखें, एक डेटिंग कपल के साथ देखें, प्री मैरिज काउंसलिंग में देखें, मैरिज काउंसलिंग में, किसी में भी, इवन लाइक वर्क प्लेस कॉन्फ्लिक्ट रेजोल्यूशन में भी जब आप देखते हैं, the first step is to actually listen. And again, coming back to our culture, I love the culture, but not everything is good about it, and I'm very reality oriented, right? बहुत कॉमन है ये चीज के, जो आपने कहा ना शुरू में सीमा के, एक हस्बैंड बोल देता है सुनता तो रहता हूँ पूरे दिन, क्या सुनूंगा। अगर आप एक बार सुन रहे होते तो उसे पूरे दिन बोलने की जरूरत ही नहीं थी। अगर आप एक बार सच में सुन लो तो मसला खत्म हो सकता है, राइट। दूसरी चीज जो आपने कहा कि जब भी हम कॉन्फ्लिक्ट रेजोल्यूशन करते हैं, एंगर आता है खासकर रिलेशनशिप्स में, तो उसमें वैलिडेशन बहुत जरूरी है, जो कि जैसे आपने कहा ना कि you took the ownership, you're not blaming yourself, and this is a beautiful थिन लाइन टू अंडरस्टैंड कि जब आप, हालांकि इस केस में सीमा जैसे आप बता रहे हो कि इट वाज नॉट कि आपकी इंटेंट थी, योर इंटेंट वाज नॉट देयर, बट ऐसा हुआ, you took the ownership कि हाँ, I'm so sorry, you know, you felt like this, and the wording that you felt like this, it's not कि sorry कि तुझे ऐसा लगा तो, no, you were genuine about it, you took the ownership, you validated her कि what you felt is not wrong, however it was not my intent. So I think वो जो closures हैं, they are important. Go ahead, Seema.
मैं इसमें ऐड करना चाहूंगी जिसमें जो क्योंकि धीरे धीरे जब ये आप नॉट ओनली पढ़ाई करते हैं, बिकॉज आई ऑलवेज टेल माय क्लाइंट आई नेवर प्रीच व्हाट आई डिडंट प्रैक्टिस.
बिंगो.
ठीक है, तो जिसमें उसमें था कि जैसे मैं इसको अपनी पर्सनल लाइफ में बहुत ज्यादा प्रैक्टिस करती हूँ कि जैसे आपको मुझ पे गुस्सा है, ठीक है, सपोज आपका नेचर ही ऐसा है कि टू बाइट अदर्स, सपोज दैट वे है ना, उस दिन आप थोड़ी ज्यादा बाइट कर रही हैं, राइट? तो मैं हमेशा सोचती हूँ कि जो गुस्सा करने वाला भी होता है ना, वो उस टाइम एक सर्टेन सिचुएशन से गुजर रहा होता है, तो रीजन उसके अपने रीजंस होते हैं. तो उस टाइम में जो जैसे मैं अपने क्लाइंट के साथ या कभी कॉलीग्स के साथ वहां पर इरिटेट होंगे, दिस आप गुस्सा करते हैं कि यू नो व्हाट, दिस इज नॉट प्रोफेशनलिज्म, दैट्स हाउ यू टॉक, और ब्ला 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 ब्ला, इजी है कि सुपरवाइजर के पास लेके जाना. बट हो सकता है कि वो अपने नंबर से जूझ रहे हैं, हो सकता है उनके पास डिफिकल्ट क्लाइंट हो उस दिन, हो सकता है उनकी पर्सनल लाइफ में कुछ चल रहा हो. सो मेरी फ्रेंड की लाइफ में उस टाइम पर्सनल लेवल पर बहुत घटनाएं चल रही थी, बहुत सारे इंसिडेंट. तो वो जो उसने देखा वो झूठ नहीं था, और वो उसका सच था.
Exactly.
वो सच नहीं था, वो उसका सच था.
Beautiful. That's what we differentiate between reality and perceived reality.
So now हम हंसते हैं इस बात पे. तो कभी कभी मैं उसको जोक करती हूँ, मैंने कहा रहने दे, तुझे भी ब्लॉन्ड मोमेंट्स हो रहे थे, we could have lost that 15 years of friendship that day अगर उस टाइम मैंने अपने ब्लॉन्ड गिरी से बाहर निकल के वो चीज नहीं संभाली.
Great. Anybody else? Sangeeta ji, did I miss out someone?
No, just continue.
So I'm gonna go back to the presentation because there's another few things that we need to talk about. These phases I would really like us to go through. So first is the trigger phase, कि जहां पर actually में जो भी triggers रहे हमारे, वो trigger हो गई, गुस्सा आ गया, right? And then it gets escalated. यहाँ पर हैं जो सारे हमारे न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर्स एक दूसरे को टप टप फायरिंग हो रही है और हम बिल्कुल एनर्जाइज्ड हो गए हैं, लड़ने के उसमें है बिल्कुल, राइट? दिस इज अ प्रेप फेज. देन कम्स द क्राइसिस फेज, जहाँ पे एक्चुअली वी आर एक्सप्रेसिंग आवर एंगर, राइट? अब वो किसी भी फॉर्मेट में हो सकती है, वो वर्बल हो सकती है, वो फिजिकली हो सकती है, फिजिकली वो खुद की तरफ भी हो सकती है, और फिजिकली वो किसी और की तरफ भी हो सकती है. वो कई बार होता है कि आपने गुस्से में अपना फोन उठाकर फेंक दिया, बाद में बहुत रिग्रेट होता है उस चीज का, पर उस टाइम इतना गुस्सा था कि कुछ जो सामने आया उस चीज को फेंक दिया, राइट? दैट इज द क्राइसिस. देन इज द रिकवरी, राइट? उसके बाद होता है कि जब आप थोड़ा आपको रियलाइज होता है, आप रियलिटी चेक में आते हो एंड यू फील कि यू नो ठीक है, हो गया गुस्सा, चलो ठीक है, यू नो पानी पी लिया, शांत हो गए, फाइन. बट आई थिंक उसके बाद वाला जो फिफ्थ फेज है, जिसको हम लोग बहुत बार नहीं ध्यान देते, वो है उसके बाद जो एक डिप्रेसिव फेज आता है. उस फेज के लिए तैयार रहना और उस फेज को अटेंड करना बहुत जरूरी है. कई बार हम उस फेज के लिए क्या करते हैं कि वी प्रिटेंड कि नहीं कुछ नहीं है, चलो थोड़ा बाहर निकलते हैं, विल बी फाइन. नो, दैट इज द टाइम व्हेन योर बॉडी, एंड अगर जो हमने पीछे स्लाइड की थी कि गुस्से के बाद के जो नेक्स्ट 2 आवर्स होते हैं वो आपकी बॉडी के लिए बहुत ज्यादा प्रेशर होता है बॉडी पे. हम लोग उसे चाहे फील नहीं कर पा रहे होते, बट जितना एफर्ट हमारी बॉडी ने वो फाइट फ्लाइट वाले मोमेंट में अपने ऊपर लिया है, उस चीज को नॉर्मलाइज होने में, उस चीज को रिलैक्स स्टेट में आने में टाइम लगता है. और वो जो टाइम हम नहीं देते हैं, दैट इज व्हेन वी आर मोर प्रोन फॉर द डिप्रेशन, राइट? पोस्ट क्राइसिस डिप्रेशन जिसको हम डील करते हैं. दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि एनी टाइम इफ यू फील दैट, बाय माय Do you guys also hear the echo, or is it just me? Now it's fine, I think. Do you hear me clear?
Yeah, somebody was saying something, so we muted.
Oh, okay, sorry. Right, so I think these stages of anger are very important to understand so that you can recognize कि अभी मैं सिर्फ trigger हो रही हूँ, and at each of the stage we actually जो first 2 stages हैं उस पे we have the capacity to prevent the crisis if we are just more aware of ourselves कि हाँ I am feeling triggered कि like for example let's say my child says something to me or my husband says something to me or my co-worker has said something and I know I'm being triggered. That is exactly also my window period to shut it down right there and then, right? कई बार ऐसा होता है कि आप escalation mode पे चले गए, तब भी आपके पास time होता है. You always have a choice, but also remember the choice to exert a choice is also a choice sometimes, right? And so if you can catch yourself during the trigger phase, during the escalation phase, anytime before the crisis stage hits you, it will be much easy for you to recoup from there. And अगर हम long term में बात कर रहे हैं तो long term में ताकि बाकी effects ना हो, हम लोग जैसे कहते हैं ना कि like किसी को अगर diabetes है या किसी की sugar borderline पे है और उसने मीठा खा लिया तो चलो अभी खा ले कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ा, but वो करते करते कब वो बढ़ जाता है we don't realize it, right? So it's important to understand the stages of your anger. This one we've talked a bit, but I want to spend a little time on this, that unexpressed anger is far more dangerous than expressed anger, right? And again, I had said it before, कि गुस्सा अपने आप में problem नहीं है. Anger is an emotion that we have. It's an innate emotion. Problem is the expression of anger, right? Like for example, I think हम सब लोगों ने अपनी workplace में कभी ना कभी ये चीज experience जरूर की होगी. I remember I was working for one of the non-profits in Toronto at one point, and I was very new. My manager had told me, and कुछ case files थी जो इधर हम लोग में exchange हुई थी, case managers change हुए थे. So my manager told me कि you know Namrta, before you take the file, make sure कि you check कि ये सब सारा जो assessment criteria थे वो पूरे हो गए हैं. I was very new, so इतना नहीं लग रहा था कि I can ask them. And people were like, you know, हम यहाँ 10 साल से है, 15 साल से है, you can't question us, that kind of attitude. So I actually took on a file which I didn't know, but was very, very critical file that time. There was a lot of legal system, the person was involved in legal system, CAMH was involved, so multiple organizations were involved, and I took that case without actually checking the assessments. And when the questions came, I didn't have answers because I didn't do my due diligence, right? And I didn't do my due diligence, not because I didn't want to, but because I was so new in the organization. It was my first week. People were not still so accepting of me. And so I was feeling on the fence already. And then my manager called, and I knew my manager was in mess because of me, right? So I was like, okay, you know what? Probation khatam hone se pehle hi career ka the end hone wala hai. So when my manager called me, I was convinced. I was just thinking, कि मतलब I just hope he doesn't yell at me, because again, going back, गुस्सा means the conditioning is social conditioning growing up, कि अब डांट पड़ेगी, right? I went in and I knew what was happening, so I apologized. He's like, no, sit down. And मुझे लगा ये तो और भी खराब है. एक बार डांट उनके बाहर भेज देता तो आसान था, right? Because I know what to do after that. ये बैठने वाला तो हिसाब किताब मालूम ही नहीं है, right? So he's like, sit down. So I sat down. He's like, do you want some water? And I was like, oh shit, ये तो उससे भी खराब होने वाला है. I was like, no, I'm okay. And I'm like, I realize I'm so sorry. He's like, no, it's okay. He's like, see, problem is not that there is a problem. Problem means there has to be a solution and we are going to fix it. But I want you to know that this is your first experience and I'm happy you got it in the first week. That the sector you're working in is so critical and crucial that you cannot be worried about relationship with your colleagues. It's like your clients are your priority. They are the reason why you are here and why I am here. It doesn't matter who likes you, who doesn't like you. He's like, I'm well aware of things that go on. But when I tell you that go and take a file, don't take a file without everything, it means you have my word and I got your back. And to me, that was such a beautiful, beautiful learning moment. And to me, it was the most interesting thing कि इतना खराब हो गया था वो, मतलब मुझे ऐसा लग रहा था, I don't know हम as an agency कैसे handle करेंगे इसको, but he was so calm, he conveyed the message without yelling, and काफी देर तो मुझे वही process करने में लग गया कि इसने ये बिना डांटे हुआ कैसे, मतलब ये क्या था? Like, and after a few days when I processed it in my head, I actually went to him and I told him ki, like, you know, didn't sit well with me because I'm not accustomed to this. And then he's like, koi baat nahi, you need to become accustomed to this because you don't deserve to be yelled at. Nobody deserves. And फिर मुझे लगा कि नहीं, इस इंसान से ज्यादा बात नहीं करनी चाहिए, हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ तभी ऐसा बोलता है जो मेरे दिमाग के साथ मैसअप करता है. So I shouldn't, but to me, the reason why it stands out to me till date is because that was my first meeting with somebody or some situation जहां पर normally मैंने लोगों को गुस्सा करते देखा है, गुस्सा एक ऐसे इंतहा का करते देखा है कि like too much, and this guy was absolutely opposite, right? And I think being in the field that I am in, especially, इस चीज को समझना कि you can actually work without getting angry is a big lesson, right? So that was one of the most beautiful gifts I think that organization and that manager actually gave me. Seema, go ahead. I see your hand.
Namrta, first of all, it's very inspirational, and I always believed that because I have had managerial positions in the past.
Right.
So that's how I used to be, because I learned that way. Yeah. I learned that way that, so then slowly I learned कि आपका focus क्या है. अगर मेरा focus आपको नीचा दिखाना है, आपको डांटना है, मेरी frustration आप पे निकालना है, तब वो गुस्सा है. अगर मेरा focus solution है,
right,
make you a part of a solution. I will not make you a problem. I will make you part of, let's have a journey together towards the solution.
Yeah.
Let's find the solution together. You know?
No, that's beautiful.
The second thing is that जो mistake है, ended थी, नहीं. You know, मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ, अपनी भी बॉस को भी मैं कहती हूँ कि मिस्टेक का मतलब यही होता है कि वो आपने अनजाने में किया है.
Right.
जो आपने जानकर किया है वो तो मिस्टेक उसको नहीं कहते ना.
True. But I think one of the most interesting things is सारे उसमें है कि जो हम लोगों को ये एक mindset है ना कि don't express your anger. खासकर हम लोग जहाँ जिन कल्चर से आते हैं वहां पे एक तो वो रिस्पेक्ट का इतना ट्विस्टेड पेडेस्टल है कि लाइक यू नो ऐसा बोल दोगे तो वो डिसरिस्पेक्ट है, ऐसे नहीं बोलोगे तो डिसरिस्पेक्ट है, अगर किसी बड़े ने ऐसा कहा है उसके आगे ऊंची आवाज में बोलोगे. आई थिंक वी आर सो कंफ्यूज्ड कि रिस्पेक्ट क्या है और गुस्सा करना है नहीं करना, और अगर गुस्सा आ रहा है तो क्या करो आप. एंड व्हेन वी डोंट एक्सप्रेस द एंगर वी सप्रेस इट, and the suppressed anger actually makes your body physically sick. आपकी बॉडी में वो जो हर बार जब आप एंगर को सप्रेस करते हो ना, आप उसको रिलीज नहीं कर रहे, आपने उसे सप्रेस कर लिया है, one thing that you are definitely heading towards is you are heading towards carrying lot of resentment, and वो resentment intergenerational रहेगी. वो resentment अगर आप, if you don't pause to unpack your baggage, you are going to give and gift it to the next generation, and then it's like कि मेरा हो गया तुम इससे डील करो, and then they are going to suffer, right? And the problem is not कि the next generation is going to suffer. The problem also is the fact that we don't deserve to suffer. We don't, right? क्यों suffer करना है? गुस्सा तो एक इमोशन है, उसका बाहर आना जरूरी है. And in the next slides we are going to talk about, we agree, गुस्सा इमोशन है, गुस्सा एक्सप्रेस करना जरूरी है. We understand कि triggers होते हैं, सबके होते हैं. And I think I read something very interesting in the chat, that PTSD can also trigger anger, and women are taught to hide their anger. That is so true, Sunita. Because again, going back to the culture, कि आदमी गुस्सा करते हैं, अच्छी औरतें गुस्सा नहीं करती. The notion of good woman, उसने इतनी women को ruin किया है जितना किसी और ने नहीं किया होगा शायद से. And वो good women, पहले good woman बन जाओ, फिर good daughter बन जाओ, good बहन बन जाओ, good wife बन जाओ, good daughter-in-law, and that cycle doesn't stop. वो आपको किसी भी form में नहीं रुकना देता, right? So when you are constantly conditioned, it's a conditioning, एक social conditioning है कि हमें हमेशा वो check mark की approval चाहिए. Am I a good mom? Am I a good sister? Am I a good mother? Am I a good wife? वो इतने good वो हैं. And I think एक बड़ा interesting, this I have to share with all of you. We were talking in some group discussion, and I was talking around the roles that women play. And so there was this gentleman, very well respected. He's like, तो इसमें क्या है? As a man, I'm also a son, I'm also a brother, I'm also this. I'm like, yes, you are, except that you were never oppressed in any of the roles. You were never told कि अच्छा तुम बेटे हो घर के, अच्छा तुम 5 बजे के बाद बाहर नहीं जाओगे, तुम अंधेरा होने के बाद बाहर नहीं जा सकते हो, या मम्मी ऐसा बोल रही है तुम आगे से जवाब नहीं दे सकते, right? That is the difference. And that it's not about the roles that we all play equal roles. Men play different roles, women play, but women are micromanaged in that roles. हमें microscopically judge किया जाता है, right? One of my friends was sharing the other day. She's like, मैंने अपने Instagram पे, she's like, I put my husband's picture कि he was making breakfast for kids, and she's like, मुझे बड़ा अच्छा सा लगा कि you know I'm not feeling well, उसने बना दिया. She's like, my female friends flooded the comment section. Oh, you're so blessed. Oh, you're so lucky. Oh, this is so cute. She's like, bloody मैं पिछले 15 सालों से 3 टाइम की meals बना रही हूँ. And nobody has ever complimented. Nobody ever said, oh, that is so cute, right? बल्कि she's like, एक बार मैंने अपनी किचन की कुछ पिक्चर डाली तो किसी ने उसमें लिखा भी कि पीछे काउंटर बहुत गंदा पड़ा है, right? She's like, so I was so shocked कि मतलब मेरे husband की एक पिक्चर डाली मैंने, उस पे सब लोग ऐसे मर मिट रहे हैं कि जैसे you know it's ideal, out of the world, but when women do it ये तो norm है, ये तो काम है आपका, right? So I think जितनी discrepancies हैं, जो social conditioning है, अब इन चीजों में anger निकलेगी ही निकलेगी, right? I'm just going to do the last slide and then I'm going to come back for the discussion around the topics. So we are going to talk about just bear with me for a moment, please, because I don't want to go through all the other slides. Okay, so let's talk about the positive regulation of the anger. सबसे पहली चीज pause, breathe. क्योंकि जो सबसे पहली चीज इफेक्ट होती है when we are flooded with the triggers, when our anger gets triggered, what is impacted is the breathing. Heart is beating faster, you're breathing heavier. So you need to pause and slow and breathe. And you should be aware of your breathing. That's one. Second thing is, in that moment, अगर trigger हो गया है, escalation हो गया, crisis वाली anger पे आप पहुंच गए हो, remove yourself from that situation, right? Like sometimes when I'm working with my kids or I'm playing and their energy levels I can never match, they're too energetic, right? And sometimes if I feel that I'm getting to that point, the first thing I do is I take a pause and I leave the room. अब वो चाहे I say, you know what, mama needs to go for a bathroom break, or you know what, mama needs to go and drink water. If I don't remove, वो जो 5-7 सेकंड होते हैं ना, बड़े crucial होते हैं. Be it at your workplace, be it with your spouse, be it with your friend, be it with anybody. Those few seconds can make a drastic difference. So pause, breathe, remove yourself from the situation. Go into the kitchen. If you're at home, shut yourself in the washroom for a moment and just process it. क्या चल रहा है? Why am I getting so angry? Use water to your advantage. Drink water. Splash your face with water. If nothing else, just leave the tap open on the cold side and just place your hands under water. Even that will help you, because that coldness will help you feel calm in the moment. Positive self-talk. That really helps. क्योंकि ज़्यादातर क्या होता है जब हम बहुत flooded होते हैं ना गुस्से के साथ, one of the most interesting that happen is we start critiquing ourselves. कि मेरे साथ ऐसा होता है या मैं ही ऐसा करती हूँ, मुझे अपने गुस्से पे कंट्रोल नहीं है, you know, and we start feeding ourselves. Already एक negative cycle चल रहा है.
प्रोग्राम आ गया और एंटर नहीं कर रहे मेरे को. I can't see myself.
एंटर नहीं कर, वो नहीं है, ऐसा नहीं है आंटी कि वो नहीं कर रहे होंगे, कुछ फंक्शन में दिक्कत होगी. I'll just wait for this to settle.
Yeah.
Uzma, can you please help Mohini ji?
Is Uzma there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
हाँ, क्या हुआ?
मोहिनी जी का स्पीकर ऑन है।
8:45 बज गए, 6:45 बजे।
कर दिया मैंने।
Thank you.
So we'll go back. Use water to your advantage. Positive self-talk. Don't let yourself go into the spiral. Don't get sucked into that spiral कि ये situation मुझसे नहीं handle हो रही है, ये नहीं हो रहा. It's okay. Things will work out. Pause, breathe. जब तक आप ये 3-4 चीजें करते हैं ना, your intensity of that overwhelming emotion and flooding calms down. In that moment, reflect कर लिया आपने कि why am I feeling triggered? Like, let's say somebody is talking about, okay, I'll share this personal disclosure. So when I had my first son, after that, of course, I put on humongous weight, right? And I remember that एक time ऐसा था कि we had some event to go and nothing was fitting me. Nothing, literally nothing. And जो fit हो रहा था वो night suits ही थे मेरे, right? So I remember my husband came and he's like, ये try कर लो. And I got so angry that I couldn't control, and I was just like, and I just broke down, started crying. He's like, what happened? I'm like, you know what? Just give me time. Don't talk to me. Don't do anything. And he's amazingly supportive. So he's like, okay. He's like, I'm outside. Just let me know whenever you want to talk. And you're okay. And I had to give myself time to think, what is wrong with me? What is happening? Like, he didn't say anything. Why am I getting so mad at him? And I think those 5-7 minutes really helped me. And I literally went and said, you know what, मुझे नहीं जाना है यहाँ पे, मेरे पास कोई कपड़े नहीं है, मैं किसी में fit नहीं आ रही हूँ अभी, I don't want to go. He's like, it's okay, we don't have to go. It's like, if you don't feel comfortable, it's okay. And it was done. But taking that moment to really think, because otherwise I would have said a lot of things that I would have regretted later, right? Because when we are angry, we speak the worst. I have never seen two angry people fighting and saying great things about each other. कभी नहीं सुना मैंने कोई कह रहा हो कि अरे यार तुम इतनी अच्छी हो कि मुझे तुम पे इतना गुस्सा आ रहा है आज, या oh my god I love you so much but I'm super angry. मैंने कभी नहीं सुना ऐसे किसी को, right?
So sweet.
The worst things come out of us when we are angry, right? So we want to minimize the possibility of that. Start practicing meditation, whatever that, and again, whatever meditation means to you. That's again a whole thing of what meditation actually is, but whatever you feel is meditative for you, please engage in it, right? Invest in yourself. बहुत बार, especially as women, what I've seen happen very, very frequently is we spend a lot of time, energy, resources for everybody around, right? Like, for example, बहुत छोटा सा example है and hypothetical है. Let's say you go to a mall, you're shopping for your kids, you're shopping for everyone, and the moment you come to yourself, you think, yeah, it's too expensive, like, it's okay, I can take it another time. You come back and then इतना सा कुछ उनमें से कोई कुछ बोलता है and you start spiraling कि see, I do everything for you guys, I do this, I didn't spend for myself. So that's when I tell women that spend on yourself. Whatever that investment looks like, चाहे वो time है, चाहे वो चीजें हैं, चाहे वो finances है, invest in yourself. Because if you don't, you're going to keep bringing it back and looping it into yourself. Learn about emotional vocabulary because you're not always angry. Sometimes we are frustrated, sometimes we are irritated, sometimes we are jealous, sometimes we are cranky, sometimes we are tired. But we have learned the umbrella term of anger. Sometimes you just have to ask yourself, am I really angry? And even if you're trying to help somebody else calm down, just ask them, okay, are you really angry or is it something else? Because sometimes, especially with kids, if you ask, sometimes they can't differentiate when they're sad or when they're angry, right? Journal. Journaling really helps you unclog your mind. So it's more like the way you see it in the visual here, that there are too many thoughts, there are too many things that we have in our head. And journaling is more like, you parking your thoughts somewhere. You're not getting rid of them. Goal is not to get rid of your thoughts. Goal is to be able to see them visually in order to make sense out of them, or to get rid of the ones that make no sense. Exercise. Whatever that form looks like, whether it's dance, whether it's workout, whether it's yoga, whatever form of exercise, going for a walk, we all have our own forms that we enjoy, but on a daily basis, make sure you're engaging in some form of exercise. Art. I find that colors really help you. If you feel that you are somebody, is angry or expresses or gets flooded with anger frequently, keep some scrap paper around, just keep some one-side printed papers and keep a lot of crayons, especially crayons are helpful. Just have them scrap and just scribble, don't think anything. जब वो एक एनर्जी आई है ना गुस्से वाली, just scribble with colors. You don't have to think. कुछ कलर कॉम्बिनेशन सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है, कुछ ड्रॉ नहीं कर रहे हो आप. You are just releasing that energy that you have built in that moment of overwhelming emotions. Use music. I suggested to people that I work with as well that you should have a playlist for yourself. There are certain songs, there's certain type of music which really helps you calm down, right? So just have that playlist with you. कि ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको रोज गुस्सा आ रहा है, आप रोज उसको सुन रहे हो. But you know कि that's my toolbox. So all the tools that you're gaining from here, जो भी आपको लगता है आपके लिए useful है, just make it. अगर लगता है कि हाँ music is something you enjoy, know the music. Because जब एक तो गुस्सा आया हुआ है, confused पहले हैं, दिमाग सोच नहीं पा रहा, music भी ढंग का नहीं मिल रहा तो उस पे और गुस्सा आ रहा है, right? That's the last thing you want to be happening. Delay your response. जरूरी नहीं है कि हमें उसी टाइम पे कुछ पलट के जवाब देना. If you delay it, say कि you know what, 5 सेकंड के बाद जवाब दूंगी, अभी नहीं दे, right? In those 5 seconds, सुनने में seconds बहुत छोटे लगते हैं, but in that moment they are very meaningful. The key lies in communication. Talk and express. Express that what is happening. Talk that, when you say like this to me, I feel like this. Talk, communicate, tell your friend, tell your spouse, tell your kid, tell your parent, tell anybody that you're there, कि you know what, जब भी आप ये बोलते हो, मुझे ऐसा फील होता है. जब मैं बात कर रही हूँ और आप अपनी बात शुरू कर रहे हो, मुझे अनहर्ड फील हो रहा है, मुझे ऐसा फील हो रहा है आप सुन ही नहीं रहे हो. एक चीज बड़ी कॉमन है आजकल कपल्स के बीच में, आई एम सीइंग अ लॉट, फोन. जितने मैरिज काउंसलिंग के लिए या प्री मैरिज के लिए आ रहे हैं, डेटिंग वाले आ रहे हैं, उनमें सबसे कॉमन ये है कि आई एम टॉकिंग एंड माय पार्टनर इज ऑन द फोन. एंड पार्टनर का कहना ये है कि आई एम नॉट लुकिंग एट फोन, आई एम जस्ट होल्डिंग द फोन. द पॉइंट इज व्हेन यू आर विद समबडी, दे वांट योर 100% attention. Even if you're fidgeting with a phone, it gives the other person impression that you're not interested. So talk. And one of the couples that I worked with once said that, I didn't know that it bothers you so much. And she's like, I've been telling you. He's like, you tell me that put your phone away, but you never tell me that it is bothering you so much. So sometimes we can minimize the whole anger episode just by being more communicative around things, right? And by expressing things more. So in short, this is where my presentation technically comes to an end, right? I'm just going to stop sharing the screen right now so that we can talk and I can hear from you guys.
Excellent presentation, my daughter. Yeah, you have explained well, yeah.
Thank you, Harish.
Yeah. So we should try to control our anger, yeah. So in Bhagavad Gita, it is written twice about anger. Okay, lust, anger, greed, these are the 3 doors of hell. So it also includes anger. और second उसमें है कि ये एंगर में अपनी जो विजडम है वो वैनिश हो जाती है. अगर वैनिश बुद्धि नाश हो जाए, उसमें एक श्लोक आता है, या तो विशाल, तो जो भी आप कर रहे हैं, अगर वो चीज डिजायर है, कुछ है, आपको ना मिले, तो नेचुरली आपकी बुद्धि का इतना एंगर आता है कि एंगर से आपकी बुद्धि नष्ट हो जाती है. अगर बुद्धि नष्ट हो तो सर्वनाश हो जाता है. These are the 2 Kian. So it is written. So the best way to control the anger, मैं सोचता हूँ कि when you get up from the I do it, बेड से उठते ही मैं पहले यही प्लेज लेता हूँ कि मन कर्म वचन मुझसे कोई ऐसी बात ना हो. वचन मीन स्पीकिंग, जो भी हो. सो जब भी कभी एंगर या गुस्सा, उसमें मैंने रियलाइज कि गॉड इज टेस्टिंग मी. शायद वो ही ना, क्योंकि मैंने प्लेज किया, मेरी प्लेज ना टूटे, इसलिए आई ट्राई टू स्किप इट. कभी इन केस अगर हुआ, so I always try to keep myself calm in every circumstances. So इसमें यही मेरा है. But it is excellent, in details ये इतना कुछ आपने how to control your anger पे बहुत ही अच्छा है.
Thank you.
Thanks my daughter. बहुत ही अच्छा.
Okay. Before we go to Madan, before we go to Madan uncle, Namrta, please see the chat सुनीता ने बहुत अच्छी यहाँ चीजें लिखी हुई हैं. Sangeeta, if you can read it. Sunita, you can unmute yourself.
Okay.
उन्होंने म्यूट
I mean, I am so grateful for this session. I've learned so much about myself. And I was actually diagnosed with PTSD, trauma stress disorder. And I think when I got diagnosed, I actually started to understand and acknowledge my anger, acknowledge my sadness, and just say it's okay. It's okay to be angry. And I think embracing that anger has helped me move on and understand that I have this trigger that when I feel I'm not capable, I'm not important, I get angry.
Beautiful, Sunita. Very well said. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. मदन जी, आप कहना चाहते हैं कुछ?
Thank you very much. पहले तो this is a fantastic presentation you did. I tell you honestly, I did miss part of it because I've been involved with my other work in between, but I got quite a bit of that. I would like to share with this one before I say something, two jokes kind of thing. One was that a couple went to a doctor, they're saying each other, he is angry, she is angry, and all that in front of the doctor. And asked the doctor, give us some medication or something where we can control it. Doctor said something, he said, whenever you feel angry, drink water and put it in your mouth, hold it. Don't speak until other person stops it.
Wow. Excellent.
The person who is holding the water in the mouth is not going to respond. Respond is one portion of that anger that happened, and then it becomes danger. From the anger, it becomes danger. Another question, but not a question, kind of joke, I heard a young man asked his father, he's saying, Dad, you've been married 30 years. What is the secret of your mom being in love with each other? He said, son, my secret is your mom is very much educated and very well financially off. She has her own bank account. I have my own bank account. She has her own car. I have my own car. She has her own bedroom. I have my own bedroom. There's no fight. And still we love each other. So these are the kind of things I'm seeing in the life. We are going towards saying, you have your own, I have my own, no interference, no checking, no doing at home or other places. You did mention about spoiling the relationship. To save the relationship, people have to do these things. I mean, not to interfere, not to say. Another thing, like being a male person, women don't come to me and tell me that their husband did that. Husband come and tell me what their wife did it to them, right? And I have seen, as we talk today here, lots of things are referred to or lean towards the women, how they are treated. But if you look at it in today's modern day, even today, any drama you see on the TV is against the men. Women slap the man in the middle of the road. Man can't even say like that. Not even hit it, not even say this. Because the moment he raises the hand, he is guilty or he is being punished for something. Man cannot do nothing or does nothing, and woman torn his clothes and he is in trouble. And he did nothing.
This is a longer discussion.
No, this is
Yeah.
saying this is what is happening, and it's not just.
And we also have Madan
things are
ji. We
treated
also have only
badly too.
5 minutes left.
Thank
Madan
you very
ji,
much.
I respect. Yeah. Namrta, I just want to say something. It's like that the last line was so fabulous. And I would have been there, I would have add one more, like love yourself enough to
Absolutely.
be who you are. Yeah. It's like who you are is such a fascinating human being as a human being. And if you can acknowledge that, I believe the whole anger about injustices, that's why I say third chakra. I say the second chakra is about disapproval. And the first chakra is about non-attended or loved. When this is being handled, like, we will have like it's like acknowledging yourself as a genius human being. So thank you. Uzma, you want to say something?
Yes. Namrta, thank you so much for another wonderful session with us. We are fortunate that you are always there for us. Thank you so much. And I would like to welcome, because it's your program, so people are from Winnipeg and Malaysia joined us. So Naveed from Malaysia, he joined us. Because of the time difference, he thinks that this is the time to start, but this is the ending. You can see that in the chat, there is one survey. I would really appreciate if 18 people are here, so 17 people can fill this. So it will help us to bring more programs, because based on your feedback, we are bringing the presenters, we are bringing the topics. So please do fill that survey. We are having in-person meeting for women's support group on Monday, 5 to 7 at PCHS, 50 Sunny Meadow, room number 109. And we are going to have another session on anger for next Friday, same time, 6 to 8. So, thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Uzma. I always love these opportunities that you give me. And it's so wonderful having all the wonderful experienced people here. It's absolutely an honor for me to be here and being able to interact with each one of you and really hear each one of you bring your wisdom and experiences. I'm absolutely indebted. Thank you very much, everyone.
And at the end, I would like to
thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here and so participative inside.
And Sangeeta, you're a wonderful host. Thank you so much for hosting today's session.
Thanks to Bedi Uzma bringing such interesting programs for all of us. So
अंकल सुनिए एरिस्टोटल ने क्या कहा है, ठीक है? ये बुक है एंगर मैनेजमेंट पे. मेरा तो ब्लर होगा तो आप लोगों को नजर ही नहीं आएगा. एनीवेज, सो एरिस्टोटल कहता है एनीवन कैन बिकम एंग्री, दैट इज इजी, बट टू बी एंग्री विद द राइट पर्सन and to the right degree and at the right time and for the right purpose and in the right way, that is not within everyone's power, and that is not easy. That's why we are bringing experts who can talk about this, who can teach us the techniques, how to express your anger, क्योंकि उसको अंदर भी तो नहीं ना रखना. So let's end our session on this note. Wish you all a very, very peaceful, angerless year ahead. I don't know anger word hota hai ki nahi hota.
Ab ho gaya.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Lots of love.